is part 4. Talking about love. And then I thought this was a good illustration from William Blake of this meeting of the 3 saints. St. Peter, you can see, has the key on the left, and St. James, and then right there, and then St. John above, who has the very loving face, because he's about love. And also in apparently Dante's vision, in his world, they thought St. John the Evangelist, who wrote the Gospel, was the same as St. John, who wrote the one about the apocalypse, and now we think they're different. But that's why there's a lot of apocalyptic imagery enmeshed, and like seer imagery, because he goes blind, as you could see in the picture before of the Sunrise Boulevard LP, where Taylor's blocking her eyes, recalling the St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio as well. And there's, a lot in literature. You see people who are blind gain prophetic vision to substitute for the fact that they're lacking literal vision, which vision is such a theme throughout the Commedia too. It's unbelievable. The idea of darkness and light, and true vision versus false vision that leads you, into hell and all of that. And okay, so love is important, as we see and I think this is where faith, hope, and love are all intertwined, but especially love. Love is the thing that leads you eventually into divine love. So that's important to Dante. So I feel like having this love spiral, to quote Lavender Haze, and also the fact that she was just on SNL last night, and they mentioned this love. You got this love? And they did this whole PR walk at SNL. And that was actually a pretty cute skit. Okay. So, anyway, just wanted to mention that. And I think that, I'm kind of the thing that we can never really know, and just, because I lean that way myself, that I consider her a chaotic bisexual, but it could just be my own perspective. And also, the Evelyn Hugo parallels are very deep with this, too. I think that they might be buds. So, I'm okay with it, with the whole shenanigan, but having this sort of crazy theoretical frame for it also helps me be okay with it. So anyway, so love, and of course, as we know, I had written, before they mentioned this love, I had written a lyric from this love in my notes. From it, I spent my whole life that's a lyric from You Are in Love. I spent my whole life trying to put it into words. It's her thesis statement of her entire career, that she's been trying to put love into words. Love has a way of bringing together community, and like a banquet, and there's a love feast, and talk about this. There's a whole banquet thing, but there's a whole banquet, where is that page? Faith, yeah, here we go. A communal experience. The question of the banquet, the shared world, this eschatological banquet means banquet at the end of the world after the apocalypse. It's one of my favorite vocab words, eschatological. A vision where at the end of time, the community comes together. And it's really a whole thing, but I think that's part of what she's doing with this football setting, is that she's mimicking this banquet, or this messianic banquet, because she says having all of her friends come. She's making a big deal about being next to his mother. Even though it's hilarious that she said meeting Taylor was okay. I think, and someone else I saw lip reader on TikTok saying that they were lip reading, and she was looking kind of disgruntled, and then they would look happy when the camera was on them. And then also this infamous, seemingly ranch chicken tender, which I feel like it could be as we know from this Vogue article, Vogue 73 questions, that she loves chicken tenders, and it's her favorite food. And this is also a 1989 era video that it's calling back to. I wouldn't put it past her. But honestly, chicken tenders and ranch slaps, so it could just be the chicken tenders are great. But in my crazy brain, where I remember random facts, I was like, she mentioned chicken tenders in that 1989 Vogue questions video. And then also I was rewatching it, and I noticed that a lot of the wallpaper in that house is, I think that the house, which was apparently the Beverly Hills house that they filmed it in, is the Lover house, because the wallpaper is the same. This is what you get when you get someone obsessed with interior decor. But I'll talk about that later. Not really relevant. And I was just thinking of seagulls. You see, there's birds on Travis's jacket from last night. Did I not? Oh, no, I did. Okay. Birds from his jacket that look very paradisey to me. They look very, there's a crazy eagle in the heaven of Jupiter. And it's just, the whole, color scheme seems very, especially with this Blake color palette, it seems very, and also they're doing blue and black. She's wearing black again. And she keeps doing these off-the-shoulder things and this golden chain things. So, interesting stuff. And also she did this when there was 13... Yesterday was the 13th day before the release of 1989. Okay, what else do I have to say here? Okay. So, this is idea of the feast. I had another screenshot, I thought. Oh, yeah. The feast is entwined with the Eucharist. And this was a really cool thing I learned from an astrology lecture, was that there used to be, early Christianity was, this kind of hippie cult. Really early, before it became this, codified hegemonic state religion that it turned into eventually in the Roman Empire with the donation of Constantine. But, they used to have, and it seems kind of a lot like Dia de los Muertos kind of stuff, where they would have these, honoring feasts, honoring the dead, and, ancestral feasts, and it's called an agape feast, which was all about love, and love transcending life and death, and then gradually that got stripped away. But it's really interesting. And then, in general, the Eucharist, and I had been thinking a lot about this whole thing about the wine, the conspicuous consumption of white wine and red wine and whatever, and just beverages in general, and also 3 words. I thought that was funny. But you could see okay. This has to do with the Eucharist, the wine, the wine and the bread and the wine of the Last Supper, and the Eucharist symbology. This wine becoming my blood, and this bread becoming my body, part of the Catholic Mass, and the thing that sort of links you to Jesus through the suppers, and then also links you to this eventual messianic banquet that is the feast of the quote-unquote lamb, who is Jesus, and he's sitting with his mother, who's also his wife. Mary is also his wife in heaven. It's wild. St. Lucy, who has to do with vision, is also his wife. It's a whole thing. But really, his whole his bride is the church. Kind of looks like this. This is called a disputa, but I'm picturing this in my head.